In this video, I'm joined by my friend Steve Castorani, who owns North Creek Nursery, and we've shot a video at Gateway Garden Center, and owner of American Beauty's plant brand. So we're very familiar with Steve in our videos at this point on purpose, because he is just a legend in horticulture. Yeah, there you go. I got smiles all around, but it is actually true. Steve is very well known and very well liked in the world of horticulture. We're going to do a video here in his home garden. It's been a tough, dry summer, and we want to show off some important fall pollinator plants and late summer pollinator plants. Most of them will be herbaceous perennials, dieback perennials. We're going to start off with a shrub, though. We want to talk about hydrangea. This hydrangea arborescens.
Arborescens Haas halo.
Yes.
Haas's halo.
Yes.
And now this time of year. It's mid-September, just about. It actually is exactly mid-September, and this has been blooming since June. In June, July, pollinators are thick on this plant. I mean, it just happens to be. And you can see there are remnant blooms here. So it has absolutely great post-bloom. Super aesthetic.
And what you're looking at is the actual flowers were in the center here.
Yes.
This is what was pollinated. These bracts around the outside, kind of draw the pollinators in, let them know, hey, I've got something over here you might like. My son and I were hiking in the South Carolina mountains a couple weeks ago, and just fields of hydrangea arborescens, this is one of our great native plants. Why is this particular one? This one came through the Mount Cuba trials, right?
This is like the #1 in Mount Cuba trials.
Yeah.
And I believe because we just see a quantity and quality of pollinators that are attracted to this plant. Yeah. We don't have that today.
Right, yeah.
But now we're looking at additional ornamental value here in the home landscape.
Right.
So when we're here on the 4th of July, and this is fully in bloom, and there's a parade that comes by the house.
Yeah, right, yeah.
This is a shining star.
Yeah.
It's just a great plant. And you name the pollinator, mostly bees, but butterflies also. Right. Just are loving this plant.
One other point on that, it's fairly rare that a named selection would beat the species at the Cuba trials. I mean, normally they're going to be just under. So it's okay. It's good to go potentially pick a plant that's not the straight species for sure. But if you're looking at the Mount Cuba trials, you can get one that's kind of in the upper end of the pollinator activity. So maybe it's more floriferous, but it's also, this one just happened to do both.
It's straight species. It was a named selection.
Right.
Of the species that was found by Rick Ray, a former professor up in Pennsylvania here locally. Yeah, and we see him at events here and there too. Sharp eye sees lots of plants. Notice that this plant, larger flowers. Yeah, and the number of flowers, long blooming. Yeah, number of flowers, and then throw on top of that a super pollinator. You can't go wrong. Yeah, so some hardy. You can cut this back in the spring and actually blooms on new wood, which is probably a question you get.
That's another thing we should say. Some hydrangeas bloom on old wood, some bloom on new wood. These can just simply be cut to the ground if you.
Pretty much. I mean, I cut this back last year, and actually, you get more blooms if you cut it back a little bit. You can control the side. We're here at the entrance to the property, and we don't want something that's going to continue to get too large. So. Cutting it back, increase the number of blooms, the quality of the blooms. Excellent plant. I wanted to point out here, we're at the entrance of the property again. Here's a plant, one of my favorite plants, Euchera villosa, Autumn Bride, found locally here in Moncton, Maryland by a friend of ours, Richard Simon. And this plant blooms a long time. It's a fall blooming plant and just has great staying power in the landscape. Tremendous fall pollinator plant. I can see some bee activity on the plant here. There's a lot going on with this plant. Great green foliage, good foundation plant, great for dry shade.
The fall blooming sedums, the upright fall blooming sedums, are all super important pollinator plants. We sometimes don't think of them as that, just more decorative plants. But that they tend to open and bloom for 2-3 days at like peak color, but then beyond that, these flowers will continue to open, and there's not a lot that will draw in more pollinators. This one is one that Steve has in here in his garden that's called Matrona, and again, it's not one of those that's out in the world. You're saying it's not, this one's really not available much anymore?
This is a plant that we grew for many, many years. It was, I'll say the ISU, the Internet Perennial Plant of the Year for Europe. Right. When it was introduced in the early 2000s by a gentleman, Ewald Hugen, from Freiburg, Germany. So it got a lot of notoriety. North Creek grew it for years and years and years. It's a great plant. This has been in this garden here for 20 years. Wow. It gets cut back in the spring, comes back every year. At this time of the day, it's in the shade, but earlier, it's in sun most of the day. It has these dark stems, kind of maroon highlights through the foliage. Just not popular, or maybe a little harder to grow.
Right. And in spring, when it's up in the pot, it may not look like much to folks at that time. No. And you just don't know. This is the thing I've said on the channel for years about shopping at different times of the year. You will gain, some knowledge of things.
Sure.
But this one, again, there are lots of other upright sedum
and you may,
out there on the
market.
You may
see this in the market.
Yeah.
Look for it. It might still be out there.
Yeah.
An excellent plant in the right place. Again, it needs good drainage.
Right.
Sedums are xeric.
Yeah,
so
right.
Good xeric plant for xeric landscapes. Boom, you got it. Hey, here we are in the driveway, and I wanted to point out a couple plants that I particularly like in the fall. Pollinator plants, because we need pollinators for plants that provide nectar and pollen in the late season to keep bees active and allowing them to store food over winter. One of my favorites, Asters variegatus. This one, again, we're under birch trees. You can see the activity in birch. They suck all the moisture out of the ground. But here's a plant that does really well in shade all day pretty much in this area. And it is just a nice, beautiful flowers that are gonna last maybe up to 6 weeks. Gonna point this back out again. Euchra villosa, pollinator activity. Just again, dry shade, right on the edge of a parking lot. You can see the debris of the birch trees. Great combinations.
This is Little Joe Eupatorium dubium.
Eupatorium dubium.
Yes. Dubium, I think in Latin means uncertainty.
I think it's now called eutrochium.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, but dubium, I think in Latin means uncertainty. I'm certain you'll like this plant.
Yes.
There's no uncertainty in this particular variety. What's interesting about this is we usually think about Eupatorium being like moist conditions, sunny but moist kind of conditions. This is the opposite of that. This is in dry shade.
Yeah, we get moisture here that comes off the driveway. We're a little bit lower, but I can tell you that it hasn't rained in a while, and we're not anticipating any rain. This has been here for 10 to 15 years in this garden. It seeds in a little bit, but really takes the stress.
Right.
Can count on it every year being here.
Yeah, it's not really getting any taller. I mean, this is our normal height with enough sun in our garden.
Height. And it's under these nissas that are again sucking moisture out of the ground.
Right.
And it's doing really well, and it's shady here most of the day. I always think of this as a plant that's, if I was going to tell somebody where to grow it, full sun will take moisture. Yeah. But here it is not doing what we tell it to do.
Yeah, and it's it's going, and this thing's made a decision on where it wants to be, and it's decided that the dry understory here was the spot to be. It's stretching a bit,
it's
and
leaning
it's looking
out for some sunlight.
You have a lot of deer pressure out here.
We have a lot of deer pressure.
So things we're showing you right this minute, the sedum was sampled a bit. We saw a couple little spots where it had been maybe sampled and disliked because they didn't eat it. They just sampled and disliked it maybe. This hasn't been touched.
Right.
Yeah, so this is a good one for, you know, an open space like this where the deer are visiting at night. And one thing I'd lastly point out, it's a little past its prime. The flowers have kind of passed. The pollinators are gone from this. It may have bloomed a hair early this year, but you still see the color in it.
There's a lot of pollinator activity on this plant when in season.
Yeah, in season it'd be covered in pollinators and going from flower to flower to flower. But even after it's finished peak flower, it still has this great color on it.
We're standing here in front of Chelone Tiny Tortuga. Only gets about 2.5, maybe 3 foot tall. Right off the driveway. It's fall. You can see again some of the oak leaves down underneath this beautiful taxodium. And here's a plant that's seasonally wet. Taxodium, kind of associated with wet.
Yeah.
But this is the turtlehead, and it's fall blooming. Lots of pollinator activity. Darker foliage than the species, which we'll look at in a second. We have another one next to the Joe Pye weed we looked at earlier. Chelone lioni hot lips, name selection that North Creek named a long time ago. Just a great, another fall blooming plant that can be available to pollinators in the late season. Really a very important plant that could enhance your landscapes.
Yeah, and I like this one because it can be in the front of the border a little bit. Most of the time, these are going to have to be in the back.
They'll be
they don't bloom
taller
until toward the end of the season, and you kind of hide them in the back until they start blooming.
Right.
This one, the foliage looks so good on it. I mean, look at where we are in September, and look how good this dark green, rich color that these generally have. I mean, generally, across the board on this species are nice foliage.
Let me talk about deer pressure. We have a lot of deer in this yard. It's not fenced in, and you can see it's really clean. It hasn't been touched by a deer. So we're getting a full array of blooms. It hasn't been suppressed by deer pressure earlier. Yeah. So excellent plant.
What do you think, the way the flower is engineered, the bee literally goes completely inside. It closes behind them.
Right.
And they get trapped in there they don't get trapped, but they have to turn themselves completely back around, which ensures.
To get out.
Yeah, ensures they're absolutely covered in pollen when they leave that flower.
And then they move it around.
Yeah, right. So this is Caryopteris Beyond Blue, and we had our first choice Caryopteris in the Raleigh garden die last year, but it was about 4 years old. And you get these things on these Caryopteris where they die.
It's been
one
about
branch at a time.
6 or 7 years, this particular plant, but I've had a couple of it, aren't as happy as this one.
Right. Look how floriferous this one is. I mean, I have to show this off, how big these flowers actually are without disturbing the bees too much. But you see the size of my hand here versus these flowers. This is one of the showier Caryopteris. Caryopteris tend to be, fall blooming shrubs. We've had them bloom a little earlier in our garden than normal the last few years, but they tend to be late summer, early fall. And again, this one was definitely picked for the amount, how floriferous it actually is. And you can see all of the activity on this plant. And you said, how long has this one been in the ground?
About 7 years, probably.
7 years.
And this is important in that it's not a native plant, but we get a lot of questions about, about native plants and native bees and honeybees and activity of non-native plants. Are they beneficial?
Yeah.
Here's proof. We have tremendous pollinator activity on many native bees on Caryopteris in the late fall. Again, emphasizing the mid-fall. And this is going to bloom for a while yet, and
it's just like that sedum over there. It's another non-native, non-invasive. So non-native, non-invasive, beneficial pollinator plant that we can have in our gardens that are overall well behaved. You can see the shirt that Steve is wearing is our ACA shirt. If you're interested in it, it's at the store at HortTube.com. We gave him this one a while back, a couple years, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
He keeps wearing it.
And he keeps it. Yeah, every time we run into him, he's got it on.
For you guys.
We're happy about that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Here at the back of the house, Vernonia lettermanii, iron butterfly, and it's a great example of the fact that we have a monarch right now enjoying some pollen off of this plant. Circling around, might come back again. Our right along the walkway. And this has been in this garden, in that spot for maybe 8 or 10 years. And it's just lovely in the late fall. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. The bees, the butterflies are always attracted to
It's
it.
another dry shade kind of spot too, big.
Yeah, I mean, it's sunny a good bit of the day, but yeah, in the morning it's shady here.
Right.
Middle of the day,
right. I mean, it's getting good. You got the trees limbed up pretty far, so you're getting plenty of light.
Plenty of light.
But it's dry.
But it is dry.
Yeah.
It is dry.
Yeah, and that monarch just keeps coming back around. No matter how much we bother him, bother her, she's still going to come back.
Yeah, good timing on, just good serendipity.
Yes.
We're here in what I call the pollinator garden. It's mid-September. Some things are a little tired, but there's a lot of activity here, and it's a little messy, but it's easy care. Talked about Eupatorium Little Joe. We have Rudbeckia subtomentosa Henry Eilers with these beautiful fluted flowers. And again, this is a plant that really hits its stride in the late summer from July and August, but still blooming, still giving activity. We have this lemon queen, Pycnanthemum unicum, always #1 pollinator plant that anybody could put in their yard. It's a little aggressive, but certainly when we walk through here, it's like, what's that fragrance? It's Pycnanthemum unicum. It's a mint, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, because it's a mint, it's going to be deer resistant.
A little plant that kind of creeps through things and lives on the edge. It'll live in gravel. That's a wine cup or Calaroe invaculata. Just about to bloom and starting to bloom. We have our fall blooming Asters. This is, I think, Radon's favorite.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, just about to start blooming. Yeah. You have a lot.
We've had Monardas in here that have been blooming.
Right.
We've had Asclepias in here.
Yeah.
Aringium yuccifolium. So there's been a lot going on in here.
Right. Rattlesnake master.
Some Rudbeckia fulgida. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot.
Yeah, and you end up with a lot of seed heads out here. So so when something comes into flower and it's good for the pollinators, it moves out of flower. The next thing comes in for the pollinators, but that last thing is now good for the birds.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bird activity that sweep through here all day long.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's editing that needs to be done, and I know that this is something I kind of need to do a better job of. You talked about seeding. Hey, some plants are more aggressive than others, and they maybe aren't exactly where you intended them to be.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Nature deals with it.
Yeah.
And it's great for the birds, great for the butterflies. It's an area that I don't have to maintain much.
Yeah. So, when are you cutting this down? When would you cut?
I cut this down in March.
So we leave
it up March into April.
Are you mowing it?
I mow it.
Yeah. So you literally, it's a once a year mowing.
It's a once a year and some editing and some weeding and some management. I mean, even with certain of these plants, if you want them to be better behaved and not as tall, you can give them what they call the Chelsea chop.
Yeah, right.
And can come in here in June up to mid-July, and you'll have some of these plants that are actually better behaved, and maybe instead of 6 to 8 foot tall, they'll be 4 to 5 foot tall, and in bloom, and with as many, if not more, blooms.
Yeah, and it's certainly easier overall than mowing a lawn all summer. How much water are you giving?
No supplemental water after it was planted, and this was planted 6 or 8 years ago.
Right, and this is giving you some trial at the nursery too. On,
I get an idea of.
Yeah, you write all these things and you hear all these things, but then when you throw it in your own garden and look at it for 6 years, you can kind of go through and figure out what is what.
Right, and I don't have a garden staff here, so it's like I said, it's a little messy.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's messy. It's perfect messy though, because when you walk through here, literally, I mean, life just flies out from under you, all around you. Yeah, and that's the fun part.
It's a good thing, and there's a progression. We've got Monardas in here that have bloomed earlier. And it's just it just continues through the season.
Well, thank you, Steve, for inviting us back up here. We run
fun.
Yeah, we run into each other all over the place, and then we're able to come up here and film
Thanks
together.
for including me in your travels.
Yeah, we love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yep.